Hello and welcome back to Gay by Gay. Woo!
Pride Month!
Pride Month!
Happy Rainbow Month, everybody.
Rainbow Month.
How's everybody doing?
There's this trend where people review things on, because like Target came out with this Pride line and a lot of the clothing is horrendous.
I've seen that.
It's so bad. Some of it is bad. Some of it is pretty good. Some of it I don't buy. I need more rainbow shit in my life, honestly.
Honestly, this is the month that more people on average will come out and start to celebrate, and it's just really unfortunate that for us living up in the great old north, apparently we're dumb, don't know how vaccine rollout works, and unfortunately it looks like we will not be getting to celebrate Pride in any of the traditional ways this year. So here we are sitting in a room by ourselves instead, celebrating like two lonely spinster women, except you have a relationship and I don't.
Yeah. We sound so sad.
I am sad, eternally.
I'm sad too. I want to go to Pride, but
both internally and eternally.
Eternally and internally.
Sad.
Eternally, internally sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
alrighties.
Talking today, speaking of me not having a relationship, that's actually what we're talking about today. Not me not having a relationship. We are talking about specifically relationships.
Yes.
In terms of gay relationships versus straight relationships.
Thinking pretty interactions.
Hello? So, just to get this out of the way, who's the man? The response is fuck you.
I mean,
unless you're in a gay relationship, in which case the answer is both of us.
Well, I mean, I feel like I would be the worst person to ask that question to.
Because you're more masculine presenting?
No, because I would just kind of sit there and be like, well, neither of us want to be a man, and that would be like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So, who's the man? Surprise, Karen. It's a gay relationship between two women. I don't think either of them are the man.
So, I'll preface this with a funny story. So, I have an auntie on my mom's side, and she is a little special, that one. She is disabled, almost blind, not deaf yet.
Getting there.
Getting there.
She's getting there.
We went by to go see her the other day, drop her off some
yeah, you guys did like a drive-by for her birthday?
Yeah. But yeah, she had come to the car, and I was showing her pictures of my girlfriend, because she's never seen Alex before.
Right.
And she goes, wow, you two are both pretty. I ain't never seen two pretty girlfriends together. Usually the butch one is more ugly. And I'm like, thanks, Auntie. Thanks, Auntie.
I love your aunt. I love your aunt.
She's so funny. I love her, too. But, yeah, pretty much, yeah, I am the more masculine one, but I don't occupy the role of a man in our relationship.
No. I mean, you don't have a penis.
No, even if I did, I still wouldn't. Mine fits in a drawer, though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Incognito mode.
Sure, yeah.
That's not what you call it. You're missing out.
I think the most notable difference between interactions and relationships I've had that are straight versus...
I mean, you're one of the few people that can actually say something like this because... You know, most people, when you get into a lesbian relationship or something, they're like, well, how do you know you don't like men? Like, what if you just haven't found the right one yet? And you're kind of like, tried men, hated it, tried women, loved it.
But yeah, I feel like, personally in my relationships with men, when I did not realize I was a lesbian yet, I felt like there's a lot less wiggle room with deciding how you want to interact with your partner, I feel like.
In like a hetero relationship, you mean?
Yeah, I feel this is weird because there's always like.
Here's the thing: relationships are weird.
Yeah,
get weird.
Yeah, true. Always felt like there was this expectation on me as the woman in the relationship to keep track of be his mom, keep track of what he was doing, stuff like that.
You know, I would say that does seem to be a little more across the board, I feel like, and I'm sure that there are some guys who are way more responsible than their girlfriends, but even from a third-party perspective, I feel like you have a really good point with that, because all of my other friends that are in relationships, I absolutely feel like the girls are usually more like mother henning a little bit, and I'm kind of like, can he not keep track of his own Like, how many guys have we had in and out of even like this space and your job and everything, where all of them were like, oh, do I work? And their girlfriends were like, yes, you work. How do I know your schedule when you don't? And everyone for the most part is like, ha, 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 typical men. But I'm kind of like, is every hetero relationship like this? What the hell is going on?
I think a lot of them are because it's what people expect. And to be...
Women are meant to be maternal. Men are meant to be the breadwinners, but apparently they can't remember when they go to work. Can we bring that trend back? Like, you ever look at, like, the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, where, like, men, if they were going to be masculine, actually had to go and do shit, whereas now men decide to be, like, masculine in a toxic way and not have to do any of the shit that they're supposed to do. You know, men used to be the breadwinners. They had to go to work and keep, you know, everything going and fix things around the house. Now men just, like, sit on the couch all day, do absolutely nothing, and the women do everything, but the men still feel the need to be toxically masculine, and I'm like, can we stop that trend?
I feel like, for me, I always had the inclination that I needed to do things that I should be doing rather than things in the relationship that I wanted to be doing. Like...
So it felt more... I don't want to say this, but maybe it felt more like a job in some ways where you had to do things instead of wanting to do things?
I don't think the whole thing felt like that sort of job, but I felt like there was definitely traits that I should have been affirming through that, like doing the mother henning and kind of managing, like, cleaning and making sure that whoever's I was with was eating and, like...
I mean, that's also part of your personality. And how do you distinguish that where, you know, I mean, for both you and I, we're both kind of mother henning types to some extent. You're the type to have a fanny pack and be like, do you need snacks? I brought snacks.
Most of them for myself, though, honestly.
I mean, yeah.
But I feel like distinguishing
I mean,
from
the box may say sharing nuggets, but what it actually means is these are all mine.
Yeah.
Don't touch my nuggets.
I think the distinguishing factor between that is when you're doing it out of care and not out of, I'm expected to do this. I am expected to mother you. I am expected to keep.
If I want this relationship to work, I have to pull my weight, which kind of means doing that sort of stuff.
I am expected to write the Christmas cards. I'm expected to remind you about your sister's birthday. All of those kind of...
Why do you sound like a 50s housewife?
Because that's what I thought I needed to be.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like now that I'm in a relationship...
Now you want to write the Christmas cards.
Yeah. But now that I'm in a relationship and I'm not... Because I feel like my lesbian relationship to me has not a lot of societal pressures on the way it should be. So for us, it's a lot easier for me to define for myself what I like to do in a relationship. What tasks I like to do, what kind of management I like to do. I like gentleman-y stuff. I like the holding the door open. I like the buying dinner. I like all of that. I like doing that stuff. That's the stuff I like.
It's not that you don't like being the caregiver, and I think this is the really interesting thing about a gay relationship, at least in terms of being a lesbian. I mean, I don't think either of us can clearly say what it's like for men.
God, no.
Maybe they experience the same things. Maybe being a gay man and a gay woman is completely different. We can't really say for sure, so take everything we say with a grain of salt on that one. But I very much kind of feel like when it comes to having a lesbian relationship like this, number one, as you said, there's not as much societal pressure, which kind of means, like, you can decide what you do or don't want in your relationship to the extent of it's like, you know, I'm going to show my care by doing little things around the house, or I'm going to show my care by being the provider. Yeah. Like, you can kind of choose which role you want to take. And even within this relationship, I feel like it's more flexible where there can be times that you can be more needy and, you know, your girlfriend Alex can kind of step up and say, okay, well, I guess, you know, if you're going through a low swing, I'm going to be more the provider and I'm going to buy you things and make you happy. And you can kind of take care of things around the home. But reversely, you can also swap that and be like, hey, I'm going to be the main breadwinner, I'm going to be the provider, and I'm going to make sure that you have everything you need while, you know, you stay either at home and take care of the kids, or even if you both want to have a career. Like, it seems a lot more flexible, because I feel like for some men in relationships, like in hetero relationships, they can sometimes... It goes to two extremes. Either they feel threatened when a woman makes more than them, and they feel emasculated because of it, which makes them... I don't want to say violent, because that's not necessarily true, but it makes them a little bit more grumpy, I guess, to some extent. Like, they feel emasculated. You don't feel as good about yourself. Or I kind of see, like, those guys that just lay on the couch all day. The girl goes out, makes the majority of the money, comes home, and is still kind of expected to do all the housework and stuff. Like, I feel like I see a lot more of that in hetero relationships, whereas in gay relationships, I feel like it goes back and forth much nicer?
It's because I say very recently, but yeah, in recent times, now that gay relationships are more acceptable, but there is still a lack of societal content about gay relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had a hetero relationship society kind of going, this is the way it should be. So there's like an invisible box you have to fit into.
Yeah, I would agree.
In like a hetero relationship of, oh, you're the woman, you should be doing this, 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 and this, and the man should be doing this, 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 and this, or the man, you can't get mad at the man for doing this, or...
Oh, he's a man, that's what they do.
Or if you don't do this as a woman, then no man's ever going to want you.
Oh, man, that hits me. Ooh, oh, no.
Definitely, and it's all...
Not being wife material? Yeah. Heard that a time or two.
Okay. We should take a break, and then we'll continue with our,
ranting?
research?
I like how we have very different terms, but all right, we'll go with it.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Gay by Gay.
Hi.
Hello. That was such a lackluster hi.
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 Feel like Squidward. Hi.
Hi.
Talking about gay relationships and hetero relationships. Again, you have been through both. I have been through neither.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're the perfect people to talk about this.
Yeah.
And I say people because I'm just going to include myself under your umbrella for a minute here.
I feel like, so, like we were talking about before, there is that lack of flexibility in hetero relationships to define your role. And those roles, like you were saying before, those roles don't have to stay constant. They can change. But I feel like, again, with those invisible walls that society has kind of put around hetero relationships, where it doesn't allow for that kind of freedom. It's you should always be like this or you should always be like that.
Yep.
It's kind of that kind of thing.
And again, I do find it very interesting that wife material is still a thing.
Yeah.
Why don't we ever hear about being husband material?
I don't know.
It's kind of like you can be any old man and that's fine, but you have to be a perfect woman.
Because the standards are lower.
That's a lot of stress.
The standards are
That's
lower.
a lot of stress.
I think it's really nice as someone who went from one of those straight relationships where I was doing a lot of the emotional labor and keeping track and
that's
scheduling.
A really good term for emotional labor because that's kind of what it was. It was less about that give and take that you should have in a relationship. It was more about you trying to provide everything for him while he basically was one of those couch potatoes.
And I'm not saying that there can't be hetero relationships that aren't stuck in that box. If you go outside that box. Go outside the box. It's not a good box.
No, don't get stuck. And you know what's interesting? I sometimes see people that don't understand gay relationships, I feel like often try to take that box
and shove it,
and put gay people into it and expect it to work the same. And it really doesn't. You know, and I think that's where you get questions like, well, who's the man? That's where that sort of thing comes from because I feel like so many of these people only understand relationships in this one way. Where it's like, there's a man, there's a woman. This is what the man does. This is what the woman does. And it's so interesting watching people try to put that box onto gay relations. And most gay people, I feel like, don't even necessarily get mad about it. They just kind of sit there and they're like...
confused.
What do you mean? That doesn't work here.
I think breaking
Your
down...
box has no power on me.
I think breaking down that question of who's the man, what people are really trying to ask is, well, who does the masculine role? And the answer is always pretty much a combination of we both do.
And that's just it. I feel like with a gay relationship... there can be, and this is inherently saying that there are feminine things and masculine things. And I don't necessarily believe that's true in the sense of relationships. You know, and there are some people that would argue against the whole gender norm where it's like bikes can be for girls and dolls can be for boys. Yes, I can agree with that, but just going off of the premise that society as a majority
it's just what it defines,
sees certain things as male and female, feminine and masculine. I find it very interesting that with gay relationships, there would kind of be no problem with the main breadwinner, which is normally seen as more of like the masculine type. They may also end up being the one that wants to raise the children, and so you're going to see almost this switch in the relationship where maybe, you know, speaking of you and Alex, just to give an example, I'm not saying this is the way you are, but just for context to help explain where I'm going with this. As of right now, you are planning to kind of be the main breadwinner.
Yeah.
she is planning to kind of, I don't want to say be like the stay-at-home mom, because that's not the aesthetic she wants to go for. She still wants to work and everything, but she kind of wants to be a little bit more of the homebody, a little bit more of the kind of typical wife.
Yeah.
But let's just say that you decided that you wanted to be the one to raise the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think you two would have any problem with you swapping to be more of the stay-at-home mom type and her going out and working.
Yeah.
Whereas in a regular hetero relationship, I feel like you almost never see that.
It would be like sacrilegious or something.
I've only seen it one time, and it was with my grade 9 teacher, where they decided that because she wanted to go back to work really badly, he decided to take pat leave, like paternal leave, which I feel like we almost never hear anything about. You always hear all the time women taking maternity leave.
Yeah.
You never hear about men for the most part taking pat leave.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because I had never heard or experienced that before, and I was kind of surprised to realize that it was even a thing.
Yeah.
Because my brain just didn't connect the two as being possible.
Yeah.
But it is. And again, I think in your relationship, it feels a little more free to just be able to do that, and no one would ask any questions. No. Whereas I feel like if men go, I want to take pat leave, my wife wants to go back to work, I feel like there would be a lot of questions going, well, don't you feel like she needs time to rest and time to bond with the baby?
Well,
don't
how
you think
are you going to take care of the kids?
Yeah, don't they need their mother around?
Yeah.
It's like, well, no more than they need their father. Like,
well, I guess, or someone being like, well, I guess your house is going to be a mess.
Yeah, I feel like within that kind of normal relationship box, like it's just one of those things that people are like, well, that can't happen.
Yeah,
you can't have a man raising the children.
It's dumb. It's so dumb. It's dumb. People can do people things.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing, especially when it comes to anything, not even just relationships, but anything. People can do people things.
Yeah.
It's this idea that it's, that's masculine or that's feminine.
Yeah.
Again, I can understand that some of society sees things that way. And again, I think it's part of the human condition to want to label things and box things because we live in the age of information. Mm-hmm. If we don't kind of put things into a context that we can understand very quickly, then we quickly become overwhelmed. So I think it's only part of the human condition to kind of be like, well, that's masculine, that's feminine, right? And as I said, I feel like it would be even harder for two gay men because in some cases, there are a lot of people that argue that you need a masculine presence and a feminine presence when it comes to raising kids. What do you think on that?
I think gay men get a lot more flack than I would about having kids.
I would agree. I think if you look at it in terms of adoption even, I feel like they would go with hetero couple first, lesbian couple second, gay couple if absolutely no one else wants to adopt.
There is this myth out there that men can't be nurturing and loving.
Yeah.
Not all men are aggressive and...
not all women are cut out to be moms.
That's true, yeah.
Shout out to some of my ladies out there who are like, I don't ever want kids. Because I feel like those women are often told, oh, you're going to feel different as you get older. Your maternal instincts will kick in one day. You know what, ladies? If you don't want to have kids and you want to be a career woman, just like a man can be a career man, go for it.
Yeah.
Do it. You have my full support. Go and live your best life.
Yeah.
You do not have to have kids to be a loving figure. You can love your partner and decide you never want to have kids at all.
Yeah, true.
That doesn't mean, you don't have any emotions.
That's not
Excuse
how it
me.
works.
Go home, Sybil.
Yeah, I feel like this is what I believe in pretty much almost every case, that the most fulfilling relationships happen when you are able to what is the word?
Bird.
No.
Bird is the word.
No.
You left yourself open. Come on.
Communicate and define what makes you happy and feel fulfilled in the relationship. Like, for me, I like telling my girlfriend that I love her and that she's pretty all the time. I love doing the words of affirmation, stuff like that. And I love the same things, but I'm the type of person where I need it more when I say I need it.
Right.
At all times, I'm handsome, but I don't need to hear it right now. Save it for later when I need to hear it. And it's just that having that flexibility and that ability to say, I like doing this for you. And the mind to go, I like doing this for you. Is there anything I can add to it to make that action more fulfilling to you as well?
You know, I do find it interesting because I find that line of communication very specifically, the whole... what do you need versus what I need? I very much feel like, again, with hetero relationships, you get this more of these expectations where it's like you get what you get and you don't get upset.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like with gay relationships, and again, can't really speak for men, but I'm going to use the blanket term of gay relationships here, saying kind of, I need this now, and you need that, and we can work so that, you know, for example, if your significant other says, well, I need more words of affirmation. Yeah. I feel like a gay relationship is much more open to being like, okay, if that's what you need, I will supply that. Or especially, I think the biggest one is probably, I need you to show me more physically that you care. It's not about having sex. It's about loving touches here and there. I feel like a gay couple is going to be a lot more open to accepting that, okay, even if that's not my way of showing love, if that's what my partner needs, I will show them that I love them the way they need it. Yeah. Whereas I feel like with a lot of hetero relationships, it's like, well, that's not who I am. So if you love me, you'll accept the love that I give you. Do you know what I mean?
I think partially it's because a lot of the times society will pit in hetero relationships, the men and the women against each other. It's not like a relationship where you're working together. It's like, it's often painted as something where you're working against each other.
Weirdly enough, can't live without them, but you can't live with them. I think I got that backwards, but you know what I mean.
All those weird Christian fundamentalist wives every single time their wedding hits an anniversary. I love you to death, but I could kill you most days. And it's not normal to hate your spouse.
No, and I feel like with hetero relationships, that's actually a huge part of it.
It is a problem.
Where it's almost like indoctrinated into you that women should almost inherently be unhappy and men should always be annoyed with their wives. Where it's like, oh yeah, the nagging wife and, you know, the kind of lazy, forgetful husband. Yeah. It's like, I don't think that should be like the ideal that we're sticking to.
You're not portraying this as happiness in a relationship, which you should be.
You know what we all need? WandaVision.
Yeah.
That's what we all need. Yeah. That needs to be the new hetero relationship.
True.
Oh, honey, you need something? Here we go.
Yeah.
But let us know your thoughts and views. I'm sure there are some of you out there that probably have experience with a whole host of different types of relationships. You know the one that we have nothing on that I would love to hear more about? Kind of not pansexual relations, but relations where you're open to having more than one partner, like either open relationships, polyamory, anything in that sort of field. I would love to know more about how that dynamic works. It's always been really interesting. And obviously, as an ace confused bi, I have like absolutely zero experience. So I would love to know more. If that's your story, please tell us. Let us know. We would love to hear from you.
Hearing about dynamics.
Also, please make sure to share the podcast. It would mean the world to us. We've been getting a lot more viewers lately, and we would love to keep growing. We want to really start to reach out into some of these communities and get more feedback. Thank you so much. We love you all. Happy Pride Month, and we will talk at you in the next one.
Yes, take it gay by gay, guys.
Bye.